What favorite book do you have? Mine's too. I love Dr. Seuss. How about Dr. Seuss? We can share that together? Okay. So we're going to read Daisy Head Maisie by Dr. Seuss. Daisy Head Maisie by Dr. Seuss. It's hard to believe such a thing could be true, and I hope such a thing never happens to you. But it happened, they say, to poor Maisie McGrew, and it happened like this. That says room number 8. Very good. She was sitting one day at her desk in her school in her usual way when she felt a small twitch on the top of her head. So Maisie looked up and she almost dropped dead. Something peculiar was going on there. Daisy was sprouting right out of her hair. What is she sprouting?
A flower.
A flower. Behind her was sitting young Harmon Butch Straudel. It looks like a daisy up here on her noodle. It doesn't make sense. Why? It couldn't be so. A noodle's no place for a daisy to grow. Then up spoke another boy, Einstein von Tass, the brightest young man in the whole of the class. It's a very odd place to be sprouting a daisy, but nevertheless, one is growing on Maisie. Hey, look it, cried Butch, right here in this room. Daisy Head Maisie. She's bursting in bloom. Miss Snitcher, the teacher, came rushing up quick. Such nonsense. Some child is here playing a trick. Which one of you boys stuck that thing in her hair? You know that a daisy could never grow there. But teacher, said Butch, I saw the thing rise right out of her head with my very own eyes. Just give it a yank. If you think this, I tell lies. So the teacher doesn't believe that this happened where it sprouted out of her hair without somebody pointing it there. But Miss Snitcher had heard quite enough of this talk. Maisie, hold still. Let me get at that stalk. Ouch, hollered Maisie. Quit yanking, Butch said. You're giving her pains. I'll bet that those roots go way down in her brains. The kids in the class started shouting like crazy. Daisy Head, Daisy Head, Daisy Head Maisie. Children, be quiet, good grief, and alas, Miss Snitcher was shocked by the noise in her class. I've taught in this room 20 years, maybe more, but I've never seen anything like this before. I'll have to report it. You'll just have to come to the principal's office to show Mr. Grum. So the teacher is taking Daisy to the principal's office, okay? So I'll start at the top. Now the principal, good Mr. Gregory Grum, was a very wise man, just as smart as they come. He knew more than anyone else in this nation about long division and multiplication. He knew all the answers. Why oceans are deep. Why skies are so high. And why mountains are so steep. He should have the answer to this thing on Maisie. My word, he declared. It's a genuine daisy. I've seen them quite often in fields growing wild, but never before on the head of a child. Now, what in the world ever made this thing sprout? I have no idea, but I'm going to find out. Very good. it says here, it says daisies grow on the land. They grow between rocks. They grow also in sand. It mentions right here they can grow in a pot. But mention the head of a girl, it does not. Daisies, it says, sometimes grow in Alaska. Also, Missouri, Rhode Island, Nebraska. They grow in Japan and in Spain and Peru. In India, France, and in Idaho, too. They grow in South Boston and also in Rome. But why should they grow on this little girl's dome? Same thing. Say, look, it said. Maisie. It's wilting. It's drooping. How wonderful. Maisie. It soon will be dead. You'll be rid of that. Daisy. In just a few minutes, our troubles will pass, declared Mr. Grum. Take her back to the class. Then the principal saw a most terrible sight. The daisy was dying, and that was all right. But that daisy was part of poor Maisie McGrew. And Maisie was starting to wilt away too. Teacher, said Grum, you know what I think. They're both going to die. Hurry, bring them a drink. That daisy, that girl's the worst problem in town. You take her away and you make her lie down. You lock her up tight in that room down the hall. There are quite a few numbers that I've got to call. Get Maisie's parents on the end of the line. I need them here quickly while there is still time. On the phone, Maisie's mom asked, what's all the fuss? Then, goodness, to Betsy, I'll catch the next bus. A call to the shoe store reached Mr. McGrew. He answered while holding a customer's shoe. Yes, this is. Oh no. I really must go. Awesome. A doctor should see her, the principal said, and an expert on plants, like the one on her head. So he called Dr. Eisenbart, who said, what a trick. My stethoscope's packed. I'll be there in a tick. Wait, Doc, said his patient. I'll come along, too. My brother's a vet, and he knows this McGrew. When he heard Finch the florist grabbed for his shears, I'll be there just as soon as my truck can shift gears. Meanwhile, Poor Maisie lay down on a couch. The daisy slumped down on its leaves in a slouch. But the window was open because it was warm, and the sweet-smelling
Bee.
daisy attracted a swarm of
Bee.
bees. And what's that word? Buzz. Bees, bees. The faster she ran, the faster they flew. So Maisie kept running. What else could she do? She attempted to hide behind Officer Thatcher, who cupped out his hat like a bumblebee catcher. And you see him trying to catch the bumblebees with his hat. The bees took his hat. Thatcher said, "I'm no fool," and he ran after Maisie back to the school. Very good. Principal Grum didn't know what to do. "It's worse," cried Miss Sneezer. "Much worse than we feared. The daisy and Maisie have both disappeared." Behind her came charging Mr. McGrew, chased by a customer chasing his shoe. Flinch, the florist, Dr. Eisenbart, too. Dr. Eisenbart's patient, and Mrs. McGrew. Turn the next page for me. There we go. Then through the window with Officer Thatcher, who slammed the pane shut so the bees couldn't catch her, jumped Maisie McGrew to the floor in a spatter, with the daisy still there, except taller and fatter. There we go. My poor little daughter, the daisy, it's true. I'm going to faint, cried Mrs. McGrew. Tut, tut, said the florist. There's no need for tears. Just because there's a daisy between her two ears, I'll snip it right off with my sharp pruning shears. Where's the pruning shears? Very good. She's my patient. Don't touch her. You must stand apart. We have to have room, said Dr. Eisenbart. We got 2 more sentences. Okay? Then the door opened wide, and the mayor stepped inside. Where's the mayor? Right there. At meetings and greetings, there was none to compare. He was best at long speeches, chock full of hot air. I promise, my friends, that if I'm re-elected, this daisy on Maisie will be disconnected. The law of our fathers is simple and sound. Daisies belong and should stay in the ground. The rest are illegal. We'll bar them from town. All right. From the back came a voice, sometimes loud, sometimes slick, of a wheeler and dealer who knew every trick. I'm Finagle, the agent. You've heard of me, I'm sure. I represent Young, what's his name, and others now on tour. But Maisie, your show's special. Please let me shake your hand. Your talent is a wondrous thing, unique in all the land. Daisy Head Maisie, spelled out in bright light, will draw kids in the day and parents at night. Daisy Head Maisie, you've got quite an act. Just stick with me, kid, and sign this contract. Your flower needs to sign too. Right up here. Her mother said, Maisie, don't be a fool. And the principal begged her not to leave school. But Maisie didn't stop to blink. She signed her name in think-proof ink. And the daisy signed too. Daisy head fever was ripping the nation. It had quickly become a worldwide sensation. Daisy head burgers, daisy head drinks, daisy head stockings. Where's a daisy head stocking? You see the stocking? Right there. And daisy head sinks. Where's the daisy head sinks? Okay. Daisy head buttons and daisy head bows. You see a daisy head bow? Okay. Maisie was famous, the star of her shows. Fame had knocked on Maisie's door. Now she had it all and more. Piles of money stacked in tens. But what is money without friends? A dream had led her far astray. That was the price she had to pay. Maisie McGrew ran night and day, nowhere to go, nowhere to stay, because she was sure that everyone must have written her off in total disgust. Over and over again in her head, these are the words that poor Maisie said. I can never go home. No one loves me. No one loves me. No one loves me. No one loved her? Poor Maisie McGrew. It's hard to believe such a thing could be true. And maybe that's why then this daisy above, when Maisie below began talking of love. Well, you know about daisies. When love is in doubt, the job of a daisy is try and find out. They love her. They love her. They love her. They love her. Don't worry. What's that word there? Maisie. They. You. Wait a minute. We missed one. What's that word say? They.
They love her.
Very good. Well, that's how it all happened. The thing went away, and Maisie McGrew is quite happy today, back at her studies and doing just great in all of her subjects in room number 8. And concerning that daisy, you know that it never grew out of the top of her head ever again. Well, it practically never popped up there again, excepting occasionally, just now and then. And what's that say? It's a ting. All right, and here's the last page and the final. And after all, I'm getting used to it. The end. Very good, ladies. All right, so today we just read Daisy Head by
Dr. Smith.
Very good. Very good.
Should we make Mayor Red a bookmate? Yeah?
Can I be a bookmate?
I think she did a great job. You guys want to give her a round of applause or a hug?
I take hugs. Oh, thank you. Mwah. Thank you.